Welcome back, Keepers of the Flame. Okay, so I said I was gonna put together a little bit of a collection of books and things. Um, the first thing that helped me the most was getting into the Mostess. The quickest way through shadow work, I guess you could say, is astrology. This is a planner called the Magic of Eye, is the company that sells it. Um, if you're into symbolism, heck yeah. So this for me was just kind of more of an eye opener into astrology because growing up Catholic, not so easy peasy to be around that stuff. At least not in my household. So this has like a chart that you can fill out. I have one year prior. I gotta order another one for the end of the year. Um, this though it gives you your chart, and I didn't know what a natal chart was. Probably about 2.5 years ago. No clue what it was. So, and this goes through everything for you. It's about $45, but it's a planner. But it gives you all the intel on the signs and what they mean. Uh, it's a lot in a 45. It's a lot, and it goes to. They help plant trees, and they also help pay for legal fees when it comes to women's needing particular legal fees for some things. In New York City, I believe it is. So that's a good thing. But this reference guide is insane, and it's so many pages of just referencing, just reference. Well, okay, there's all my writings, but legit, it gives you all the transits, moons. Moon is the easiest place to start when you're looking into your astrology, but major transits it gives you. So if you look at your natal chart, astroseek.com kind of breaks it down really easy peasy for you. Tells you what the different breakdowns mean, houses are where it happens, and signs are how it happens, all that other good gravy. But it breaks it down for you, astro-seek.com. And then you just put in your horoscope or your natal chart. I think you click on your natal chart and then it just asks you for your information. You are probably going to have to find out when you were born if you want to know your ascending. Yeah. If you don't know your ascending is kind of what you're going to evolve into eventually later on in your life. It's kind of there as an underline in the beginning, first years of your life, but like towards later on, that's kind of where you're going to. That's where you're aiming to. Then you have your sun and your moon and all your other, planetary placements in different signs in different houses. Um, it's probably the most efficient shadow work breakdown that I've personally had. Now, if astrology doesn't resonate with you, you can have other modalities. I have plenty here. And it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. Keeping a moon journal also is very assistant because sometimes we don't understand, like, why am I so freaking moody today? What even happened? I don't even know what the hell is going on. You're not losing your mind. There's tides that this little beauty pulls here. So, making a wild accusation and assumption that we're somehow blessedly, totally protected from what this little teeny tiny thing is capable of, that somehow we're not affected by that, even though how much percentage of us is fluid. That's kind of an asshole assumption, wouldn't you say? Kinda. A little bit. Just maybe. If this pulls the ocean tides and doesn't affect us, I'm gonna need some serious fucking scientific proof on that. So, especially, this year would just solidified this for me like nobody's business, because my ascending is in Sagittarius and my sun is in Scorpio. Now I have both of those are also stelliums for me. So that means that when we had those eclipses going on, I was getting whopped in a major way. Like in 5 weeks, I was a totally different person. It was insane. It was the amount of transformation that happened in my life is astronomical. And I'm a fixed sign. I'm a fixed stellium sign. That's huge. So if you just let this little beauty work her magic instead of fighting her and giving her the middle finger, things go much, much smoother. Since I started embracing it and tuning into it and just letting those feelings rise up in me, and then going to talk and to kind of explore and talk about the transits and whatever else going on in the natal chart. That's huge for me. That was powerful because I felt it first and then I got the solidification on the outside. That was huge for me. So, and this doesn't have to be for you. I'm not saying that this is scripture. It's freaking not. But the cool thing for me was that you can evolve off your astrological chart. It will become, at some point, hopefully in my life, a little bit null and void and useless. I'll just go with the movement of the planets and let that flow through me, and I won't have to pay attention much at all to it. Kind of like I did with like magic and witchcraft. I just got to a point where the mental assets were already there, and so I don't need to do so much of a ritualistic type of practice. I just don't. It's just an evolution thing. You keep pushing for it. You keep asking for it. You keep digging for it. This is, for me, a major, major tool right now at this point in my life. That being said, oh, crap. Lady parts. Damn it. All right. So, I can't show you the freaking cover because it's a girl. She might be like a stone statue, but she's got lady parts. So this is Lilith, Keepers of the Flame, by Mary Blue. I had a real hard time understanding and wrapping my head around this. Again, the downloads from the Catholicism backfired in a major way. That was a hot minute under the duvet, trying to assess life in general, because I didn't know who Lilith was, first of all. Second of all, I really did not appreciate that she showed up in my Capricorn. Really did not appreciate that. And then you get to the truth of it, because there's so many misconceptions out there. They demonize the crap out of every single solitary female figure. Anyway. And also, by the way, if that is one of your triggers, with feminine being not... Astrology doesn't give you that reprieve either. So you're just going to have to buffer up for that too. Okay, what's my next one? This one's light and my friend Fear. Finding Magic in the Unknown. Muriel Lee Potel. I think that's an O. I'm pretty sure that's an O. In cursive, it's not an A, it's an O. Potel. Potel. Okay. So, this is a really good workbook, too. She has you journal some things. She has you work through some things, but she'll sit with you in your emotions. It's really nice. So fear has so many stems that come off of it, right? So I'm just going to read you a little excerpt quick. And it says, the shame and the power it holds over us. Shame is the least discussed emotion that stems from fear, and its debilitating effects quickly magnify because it isolates us. Fear of judgment leaves us feeling ashamed of our actions, beliefs, feelings, or simply for who we are. We know that we're supposed to love ourselves despite the shortcomings everyone tells us we have. But it can be hard to hear the sound of your own voice among the many others in your head. Back in my Brooklyn bedroom, I ignored the one confident voice inside me that assured me my body was beautiful, choosing instead to listen to the many that told me I wasn't. Because we feel disgusted by our own shame or lack of self love, we often don't communicate our feelings to anyone. Instead, we silently sit in the emotion, enabling the waves of shame to grow stronger until we slip beneath them. The longer we rest in any one emotion, the stronger its hold over us, and the more muted our other emotions become. It becomes impossible to trust or believe that we are of value, to believe that we are worthy of anything other than the awful state we are currently in. If someone tells us that we're beautiful, we feel skeptical because we don't believe the truth in their words. And then guilt sweeps in because we don't believe the sentiment is something we deserve. So, and it's colorful, it's pretty, and she just helps you sit with it. She goes through all the different facets of fear and just like says, yep, this is not just you. Everybody goes through it. Everybody goes through it. Okay. For those of you with an abundance of trauma and a really good visualization, process, I guess you could say, you can visualize very easily, like you don't need a board up on your wall or anything like that. The completion process, really good. I know Teal Swan they just made a documentary about her. Yeah, but she counterpointed that and whatever else. And she does go through that. She has her inner circle has a list of things that they're required to do. And yes, it is fucked. But she states at the end, if even one of these things is not okay with you, this is not for you. She has a very strict mission and she's adhering to it. Okay. And I'm not bowing down to her. I'm not, but I am going to use her resources that she's made available with her time and energy. She's dedicated her life to this. So, for me, this really came in handy when it came to dealing with trauma, because at one point I had 5 CPTSD books sitting around. 2 were on the internet and 3 were sitting next to my bed. I didn't have enough memories from childhood to access to write down in all these books. I know. It's bad. It sounds bad. Probably is bad. But anyway, this was the only thing that guided me through the process. This is 18 steps. You do need to read through it. I read through it in about a day and a half. And then I went through the 18 steps and did that and then memorized the process to keep it going. This is not easy. This might require that you have a therapist at the ready, a best friend, a confidant, someone that gets what you're going through, someone that gets it. That's the other tricky part. You gotta find a therapist who gets it. And yep, that's a process. Somebody should write a book on that. So, somebody who gets it, somebody who knows what you've been through and kind of has a good foundation of what you're working with. Okay. And then I did yoga poses. I did the Tina Turner Nam Marenge Kyo. It's been a hot minute since I've done it, but I did it repeatedly. The first session I did, it wasn't 2.5 hours long. I have it linked in a video. Trauma healing Chant is the name of the list. It's down in my playlist. You can go and do that. You don't have to do it for the 2 hours, 2.5 hour. It works for me. It just because it doesn't work for you doesn't make, there's nothing wrong with you. Okay. So many times we are given homework or we're told you need to do this task in order to, yeah, da. And you're sitting with the task and you're like, why am I having this reaction? Why can't I access this? What the hell is going on with me? What's wrong with me? And everybody else in the group is like, yeah, we're good. And you're just sitting there like, am I the only one who's like not okay with this? So there'll be different times in your healing process where you're trying to go through things and you'll get a setback. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. I think something like 73% of all suicides have seen a therapist, a professional therapist in the last like month. So understand that everybody's allowed to be human and that includes you, and that you don't need to be embarrassed or ashamed because you tell your therapist something and they look at you like you got 3 heads, or you're given a task and for the life of you can't complete it because you just don't have access to what they're asking you for. That doesn't make you wrong or bad, and it doesn't mean that you don't have a right to heal. That has nothing to do with it. It's the simple fact that this broad brush thing system is not copacetic with the healing process. That's all that means. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It means that we're human, we're fallible, we screw it up, and you're just going to have to find it in your heart to forgive them. I don't know what you want me to say. Forgive them, darling. They know not what they do. At least you would hope so, right? So coming from that perspective, because I know that when you're trying to heal your trauma and you've got this person in front of you that's like, yep, I'm going to heal your trauma. But then it feels like they just picked up a verbal abuse club and just started beating you with it. You're like, what the fuck are you doing? Okay, well, all right. Then that just means you need to find a different avenue. That particular thing is not for you, and you just go over here. You bring your little tuchus and your burning butthole to another modality of healing. That's all you have to do. So if this is lighting you up, don't use it. That's okay. That's just your body or your mind or your whatever's way. Sorry, this is resting on my knee right now. It's just your way of saying, no, that's not going to work. Don't waste your time there. Okay, so if you have to work to overcome these 2 words down here, then this isn't for you, and that's okay. That doesn't make you bad. It doesn't make you wrong. It doesn't make you anything other than on a path to healing and using your discernment. So repeat after me. Okay? There's nothing wrong with it. Okay? Next. We're just going to go through the teal clay. Now that I have triggered you, okay, this was my Valentine's Day gift one year to myself. Now, you can do this with your partner if you have a partner, but the completion process you can also do, or the connection process you can do with yourself. This is you get intimate with yourself. God, I got weird freaking bookmarks. I pulled a tarot card out of one of my... I'm weird. Okay, so this is just a connection to yourself, right? It's very lovely. It's super easy. I got through it in like freaking half hour. And then you sit with yourself. It's beautiful. It's really, really nice. It's one of those ways that you get to know yourself on a more intimate level. And the things that I discovered about myself were really, really profound. And they're still with me to this day. Sitting with those terrifying parts of yourself and then coming to the realization that they're actually not terrifying. They're just not. You think they are. I remember getting to the center of this process, and I had this sudden urge to reach out and hug what I thought was a horse with all these little sharp teeth on its snout. And it turned out to be a giant orchid. It was really cool. So the things that you hold within you are not as bad as everybody wants you to believe. I think the reason why we put so much blah, 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 about shadow work and the dark and whatever else is because if people start to actually do this, like really do it genuinely, authentically, we're going to have a lot of empowered and magnificent people on the planet that are going to make real change. And sometimes that makes other people really upset because they don't want to do the work. It's hard work. It's sheer agony, but you need to pick what you suffer for, or the universe will pick it for you. So, we're in shadow season. So I'm getting into my shadow work. This is a 30-day challenge in and of itself. I remember one of the 30-day challenges I did. And that one I'm not going to send you to because it helped a little bit, but it ended up doing a little bit more damage than good. So use your better judgment when you're picking 30-day challenges. But this actually, I remember some of the tasks that she has you do in here actually kind of helped counterpoint some of the tasks that that person that was running the 30-day challenge did, which was kind of magical. Anyway, so self-empowerment, okay? Putting that little bounce in your step, okay? That's huge. So you need to find your little niche. Mine is learning about flowers. Now, I have a lot of books about herbs and okay, so in the medicinal standpoint, when I say herbs, I'm talking about all the things that grow that are plants, have like leaves and flowers and all that good stuff. So in a medicinal sense, when I say herbs, I mean all things that grow out of the earth. Does that make sense? Or in the air. Well, there's air plants too. Bromeliads. Orchids are fungus, by the way. Anyway, so when I say herbs, I am all encompassing all the things. Okay, it's not just like, the stuff you add to your food for culinary purposes. 90% of all plant life, not consumption, available for human beings. Did you know that? 90% of all the things that grow on the planet, not to be consumed by humans. Think of all the food we have. How freaking cool is it that we have all this plethora of food, and yet still 90% of it we're not even able to eat. Now, that being said, field guide. I had another one. Wild edibles. It probably slipped between the cracks. I'm surrounded with pillows right now. I'm in my little... Nope, that's not it. Okay, wild edibles and then the survival's guide. I like going out into my hiking little thingy things and just like being able to be like, oh, you can eat that. Oh, you can do that with that. Oh, that's good for wounds. Oh, that's good for this. Oh, I can. And this is like, it'll tell you what to use for what. Right down to skinning and cleaning stuff. Just and then it tells you how to make traps and things like that. Now, I know you don't have to pick this as your niche. If it doesn't resonate with you, that's okay. But something that is in the physical. I used to not like video games for that reason because it wasn't creating a reality that was better. It was creating the illusion And that still, to some extent, kind of irks me a little bit. But, like, I get how it helps some people. Like, it helps you work through some things on a mental level. And that's good, okay? I understand that now. But if you can learn to, like, identify some things in your reality and cultivate them and work with your hands, it does different things to the DNA and the process of you feeling more confident in yourself. If you can make something in your physical reality either better, or you can just create in the physical, it actually does wonders for your self-esteem, for your brain connects to both sides, and all that other good gravy. The benefits are immeasurable if you can do something in the physical realm that is producing, building, and creating, and teaching yourself how to do those things, teaching yourself how to build, create, produce something physical, not psychological, not philosophical, not religious or spiritual or anything like that. Physical. Physical, whether it be pottery, arts, building a table, fixing cars, whatever it is, okay? Pick something that you're passionate about and you can bring into the physical, because that rubber is going to meet the road, and that is going to add to your self-worth in ways that you cannot even imagine. So just pick a weird physical hobby. Okay, you can still keep your computer hobby because that's helping you work through a lot of emotions that you're not even realizing probably. And when you do that, maybe bring that into your conscious awareness, all of the different things that it's helping you process through, okay? Because it is on a mental scale, not on a physical one. So balance that out a little bit, okay? Add to that repertoire that's going to give you some self-worth and self-confidence in the physical, okay? Next! Okay, how we doing? So this, for me, this is probably, oh God, it's well loved. Look at all those lovely little stands, folds, whatever. Anyway, so The Secret Teachings of All Ages by Manning P. Hall. A lot of people have this book, as they should. A masterful summation of the esoteric teachings of the ages. This helps you put things into perspective. This helps you understand societal things throughout the ages and whatnot. I cannot recall at the moment if this was the book that sparked it, but the fact that we're on version 7.0 of this religious narrative, and 1 through 6 prior to this is no longer on the planet. That should set some alarm bells off. So understanding that is going to help you. I also have The Stage of Time by Matthew Lacrosse, if you're interested in like the global pyramids and the actual timelines. That's a good reference guide. I really want to read that book that he just paired up with that Billy, shit, what's his last name? I don't know, but they did the Emerald Tablets. And I really want to get into that book. But right now I'm trying to get through the asteroids and the psyche and the cosmos, because holy Jesus. Anyway, so another thing too, Virgo had when you're embedded with programming from a very young age, it's hard to even identify what that's embedding and how it's infecting your life. And I say infecting because it's like a bacterial infection where it just spreads. It keeps growing and it keeps producing pus. And if you don't know the source of it, it's going to continue to wreak havoc. Okay? So Martha Beck's The Way of Integrity, Finding the Path to Your True Self. This helped me in so many ways, just for the simple process that she had to go through of standing in her own strength and courage. Now, this takes you through the Divine Comedy by Dante. If you don't need to know what that book says, you don't need to, because he spews so many names in that book, and by the 80th page you're like, oh my God, stop. So this is a really good manual to sticking to your guns, sticking to your truth, and not backing down. When somebody's trying to talk you out of your truth, you got to be careful. When someone comes to you and says, that gut instinct you have, you're wrong. That didn't happen, or blah, 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 blah. Back away. Okay? So if they're questioning your reality, that person is entitled to their perspective. Understand that. But they are not entitled to change yours. I hope this makes sense. So what could we use as an example? You should eat this with every single meal. Well, that particular thing makes me feel sick. It hurts me. It hurts my body. Yeah, but you should eat this with every single meal. It's like they're not even hearing you, and they don't really care that it hurts you. Those are the people that need to be... If they're not willing to acknowledge that you have a totally different experience than them, and you're kind of trying to explain to them that this is what's happening, and they're like, no, but you need to come over here, this book's gonna help you stay with it no matter what. And she also has to go through some religious trauma in here, and it's very powerful how she handled it. It's absolutely beautiful. I highly recommend this book, especially if you're going through some religious trauma and trying to unbind from the spells. Okay. What else? Did I talk about Lilith yet? Okay. So when I got into astrology and whatnot, I got into my Lilith placement, and that became a little bit of a tricky business. So this book, Lilith, Keepers of the Flame, which is based off this channel, by Mary Blue, I highly recommend you get into that book if you want to understand a little bit more about the truth of things, and kind of the basis for this channel. My Lilith is in Capricorn, so I spent quite a bit of time trying to figure that crap out.